How Jesse of you. How's it going? Getting the good stuff out. Yep. Fallout tonight. That's the plan. I've been enjoying the side quests. I've sort of accepted that I'm gonna fail the main quest, but I've been enjoying the side quests. Am I a fan? I mean, I'd say I'm fine with it. All right, let's get rolling. Let's do the dang thing. More than enough to do the studio tour. So it's in the works. It's happening. Shop tour, whatever you want to call it. A bunch of videos are in the works, actually. Exciting stuff. I mean, years, though? Years? Maybe a year plus. What's up, Spada? Let's say Spada. All right, where are we at? Friday, March 6th, right-hand page. We'll pull a right-hand D100 inspiration. How about a 35? 35. 35 says through infinity. Through infinity. And just so you guys know, when folks are talking about the bricks and how many we're at, it's these guys. So it's brick in chat to catch the link. Basically just supporters on the YouTube channel. Get their name over here on the tower. But we really have probably maxed out, otherwise I'm going to have to make more levels, and I mean, we can't do that. So actually it could go, it could probably go a couple. If it went any higher though, I'd have to find a new place to put my zines, but you know, we can figure it out. Anyway, through infinity. You do, Data, although it's not painted properly yet, but I believe you are right. Yeah. Everybody should be on there except for actually the latest gifted, but I have some foam set aside to carve one up. Hey, Shiny. Through infinity. Okay, so infinite means infinite possibilities. Looking through possibilities, looking into the future. Fortune telling. Palm reading, looking into the crystal ball, kind of like that, through infinity itself. Okay, I've got an idea. Let's chase this one down. Let's see what this turns into. All right. Hey, cool kid. The crystal ball said we would fail terribly by blank. At 1080p, you can see it. I may give it its own camera to get a more like focused, like controllable. Or I could just there you go. Now you can see it. We could just work like this. This works too. The crystal ball said we would fail terribly by finding 7 keys. How about by losing 7 keys? How about tumbling down a chasm? The crystal ball said we would fail terribly by losing 7 keys, by tumbling down a chasm. How about by oversleeping? By maybe like accusing the wrong person, by like finding the killer. Getting lost. So losing something, getting ourselves lost. Maybe getting stuck more than getting lost. Maybe like getting stuck. How about just getting stuck, stuck in the Feywild? Crystal Ball said we would fail terribly by losing 7 keys, tumbling down a chasm, oversleeping, being stuck in the Feywild. Certainly like losing, like losing a fight, losing a big fight. By losing to the how about losing a duel? Setting fire to something. Something burning up. By burning the pages. I'm going to say by burning the pages. Yeah, something with the gate, something with peace. Well, we have being stuck, losing duels, so opening the gate, closing the gate. How about opening the gate? So we have losing item, falling to a trap, just being dumb, getting stuck or lost, losing a fight, burning something, opening something. How about trust? How about trusting the wrong crown? Crystal Ball said we would feel terribly. Okay. Second list. So the crystal ball said we would fail terribly by something dumb. Also, that failing was the only way to find the one and only blank. So now we're thinking in terms of MacGuffins. This is something that you seek to find. It's like the way that the Philosopher's Stone would only show up to Harry if he was somebody who wasn't going to use it. That type of idea. So yes, they have to fail. That's the only way to find blank. That's the only way to find the... It's the only way to find the one and only... How about like Magic Loom? The one and only Arcane Loom, whatever the heck that is. Failing was the only way to find the one and only... True air. Let's say true air. Failing was the only way to find the one and only God bow. I like a good God bow. The one and only way into the tower. So the crystal ball said we would fail terribly by losing 7 keys, by tumbling down a chasm, by oversleeping. Also, that failing in that way was the only way to find the one and only arcane loom, true air, God's bow, the only way into the temple, or into the tower, sorry. Temple works too, the only way into the tower. And only elder tree. Dragon Island. Okay. Works for me. The one and only would fail terribly by being stuck in the Feywild, by losing a duel, by burning the pages. That was the only way to find the one and only. So we have magic, person, probably, weapon, passage, location. Only way to find one and only. How about a grave? Grave of the something or other. I'm going to say Grave of the Lost King. And we could always go more meta, right? The one and only hope. Some sort of not a book. How about the one and only treasure? Come on now, let's make a treasure already. What kind of treasure? What kind of treasure hoard? The vault, the one and only. What would be like the ultimate? Would it be like a dwarven vault of gold? Okay. All right, now let's roll and see what we find. You never can tell. 2 8s. Double 4s. Crystal Ball said we would fail terribly by being stuck in the Feywild. Also, that failing was the only way to find the one and only way into the tower. Okay, so this is fun. I like the idea of, you know, like a tower, like a particularly tricky, like Wizard's Tower, is going to have some hallway of doors, some chamber of doors that go to all sorts of different planes. And so kind of a backdoor way in is if you can go to one of those planes and then find your way back into the tower. Well, you're in the Wizard's Tower. You're in the place that was so difficult to go. So I almost imagine that the party being there by happenstance, they notice maybe the wizard, follow the wizard back into his tower. There you go. That'd be a fun way to get there. 7-8. Crystal Ball said we would fail terribly by opening the gate. Also, that failing was the only way to find the one and only Dwarven Gold Vault. Gate to find the vault. Ah, okay. So this reminds me of an encounter that I ran once where outside of a Dwarven a mining colony, there was a thief who had been imprisoned outside in a cage and basically left to burn in the sun because steal from dwarves, they mean business. I would relate to that type of idea where the party's coming to visit the dwarves or traveling past, it's like the gate in this case is the gate of the cell, the gate of the sort of hanging jail cell that the person's trapped in, because if they let them out, they can show them the way to the Dwarven Gold Vault that's hidden in the mines. That'd be a fun use of a crystal ball sort of interpretation. It's like, here's basically, it's a way of giving players sort of, this is the quest hook, right? Or this is the thing you can get at the other side of this if you interpret it correctly. And you just need a couple different interpretations. But the crystal ball said we would fail terribly by trusting the wrong crown. Also, that failing was the only way to find, the true heir. Okay, so that snaps together pretty well. Being betrayed by the crown is how they probably end up finding someone who claims to be the real heir. I also think there's a way to play. The reason I phrased it crown rather than king is that, like, you know, there are going to be different kings in different places, even in different planes, right? Think about like a dark king of the underworld versus like sort of the king of the material plane. So that one actually makes a lot of sense thematically. 5 and 3. Crystal Ball said we would fail terribly by losing a duel. Also, that failing was the only way to find the one and only God's Bow. When I make an encounter, I don't really think that most of the time I just sort of come up with the idea and then try to stick to what works for the idea. I don't do a whole lot of rolling, honestly. Like, I like it for these kind of ideas and sort of plucking ideas out that I want to use in the future, but when it comes to an encounter, I typically just kind of follow what makes sense to me. So by losing a duel, getting the God's Bow. How would losing a duel? I mean, you would have to be, at that point, you'd have to be fighting an angel, fighting a celestial. Or maybe it's losing a duel with the person who will end up defeating the celestial or the angel and granting you the God Bow. Always tricky being on the failing side. But I kind of like the idea. Kind of like the idea of the party almost being sort of the corner, the hype men for the imagine that the angel's going into duel, and it's like, hey, listen, if this is the duel that we were gonna, if we lose, like, you can see the God's Bow, like, that the angel has, like, we'll get the loot if we sabotage this duel somehow. I don't know how that circumstance would come together, but there's some kind of idea there. Crystal Ball said we would fail terribly by burning the pages. Also, that failing was the only way to find Dragon Island. Okay, that works. So the burning page, it's not the map. The map on the pages was misleading, but accidentally burning them, or in this case, intentionally burning them, which would be a crazy big risk, is going to, like, out of the smoke and fire, flames, and of sort of leading the way to Dragon Island. It's kind of fitting, actually. How else would dragons leave behind a message communicating the ways to follow the smoke? Can I do a 1 and a 5? Crystal Ball said we would fail terribly by losing 7 keys, but it was the only way to find the Elder Tree. Losing 7 keys, finding the Elder Tree. It could be that this keys fail by losing, though. The Elder Tree would have to be in the forest, Feywild or otherwise. The Elder Tree would have to be in the forest and protected by a ward or spirits of some sort that, like, you have to quote unquote lose things to the forest. You have to, like, there would have to be like sort of 7 veils you have to pass through, and each time I've done this before in different ways where it's like, now you've got to give up something of this type of value, you got to give up something magical, you got to give up something like this, like, especially when parties are kind of heavy with inventory. I like to drop lots of cool items. Well, I think they're cool, lots of magic items. So turning that inventory into sort of your source of keys and losing things in the forest, that'd be kind of a fun interpretation. What do we even need now? 2, 3, and 1, 7. 2, 3, 1, 7. Crystal Ball said we would fail terribly by oversleeping. That was the only way to find the Arcane Loom. Okay, so the Arcane Loom is only accessible through, like, the deepest of sleeps. Like, something terrible was missed due to just like I would just take a prediction like this, and then every time there's a long rest, I would have everybody roll, and we would just decide, or I would just decide, like, if it's a D100 or if it's some other complex roll. If it's below this, then you guys oversleep and you miss the thing that was important to you, but also this is now you're slipping into this dream where you can access and tap into this Arcane Loom. Whatever the heck that is. Something big and awesome. Crystal Ball said we would fail terribly by tumbling down a chasm. It's a good one. But that was the only way to find the grave of the Lost King. Doesn't this feel like, feels like Tears of the Kingdom. This feels like caves underneath the castle type of thing. I like that. Exploring, spelunking, falling down, getting lost, and then finding the Lost King as a result. Works pretty well, I think. Cool. It's a good one. Thanks, Data and Cool Kid, for all the great ideas. I like this one. Playing Fallout 1, potentially finishing it tonight. We'll see. See how tired I get. And what game comes after? Do we just go on to Fallout 2? I mean, I probably need more Fallout in my life. I probably haven't had quite enough. So, we'll see. Throwing in the Discord and Zine link again. And I'll be on here in a few hours to play some games. All right. See everybody.